Australian Kangaroo coach Bobby Fulton made some significant changes from the team that lost to England. Out goes John Hopewati and in comes Brett Dallas. Gary Larson flew in as a replacement for the injured Paul Harrigan, and he goes straight on to the second row spot. But the most important move, Newcastle Knights half-back Andrew Johns switched to hooker. That's a big gamble. And Kiwi coach Frank Endicott also takes a gamble. He reckons you can only beat Australia by trying things differently. Hence, the inclusion there of Henry Paul in the number 9 jersey. Tony Kemp switches from loose forward, and Richard Barnett, highly regarded down under at Cronulla, he's preferred to Jason Williams on the wing. Okasini is a big impact player. I think we'll see him on the pitch at some time in a support role for the forwards. But Australian coach Bobby Fulton includes Kosef instead of the injured Gillespie. Brad Fickler, only Reg Gasnier and Dave Brown have captained Australia younger. 23 years of age, this standoff. Still at school when he played for Penrith. And Matthew Ridge has suffered rib damage in this tournament. It'll be interesting to see how he copes. An exciting, attacking, stylish fullback. Referee Russell Smith, 31 years old, from Castleford, was in charge of these two teams a couple of years ago. Former half-back himself. And New Zealand ready to perform the hack. Jason Lowry, the big prop forward at number 10, leading the haka. The Australians appearing unconcerned, especially players there like Mark Coyne. Jim Dimmock. And the man on whom a lot of responsibility holds there, Stacey Jones. So the second semi-final of the Halifax Centenary Rugby League World Cup. Australia and New Zealand looking to play England in the final at Wembley on Saturday. The Kiwis, the underdogs, Australia still very firm favourites, but a lot of people over the past 24 hours have been shifting opinions, Joe, and tipping New Zealand.
Yes, New Zealand have got a chance in the semi-final, obviously, but first of all, they have to expel the Test series defeat, the whitewash at the hands of Australia, the recent series, and I think it's down to self-belief. They really have to believe that they can win this game.
I think it's going to get down to New Zealanders whether they can play as a team. Individually, they've probably got player for player as good, or if not better than Australia, but they have had problems in the past playing as a unit.
They certainly have. They didn't play too well against France in 2 Test matches in New Zealand. They have the talent. Can they put it together this afternoon? Ridge doing well to pick up that ball. He was out very, very early here at the McAlpine Stadium, testing that wind, and it certainly came off there. New Zealand's last win over Australia some years ago, 1991. Henry Paul doing the job that Frank Endicott wants him to do. Horrell slipping away there from the acting half-back position. Tony Kemp. Hang on. Picked up by Tim Brasher for a slip.
Very good set of 6 by New Zealand there. Took the ball from deep in their own half, and with runs from out and half-back managed to penetrate the Australian half of the field, and then a good kick. So encouraging start, especially from Henry Paul.
And a good strong run there by Dimmock. Gets the ball away to Tuvey. Tuvey, the Manly skipper there in Sydney. Dean Pay. Carroll. New Zealand defending very, very strongly, very closely, compacted in the centre. Well, it came off a Kiwi player, but there was no intent to play the ball, so still the 5th tackle. Fickler, again, testing Matthew Ridge. Oh, and a good take by Matthew Ridge. He took a knock, but he got it well there. That will give him confidence.
Great high ball for the Australians. It was Wishart that came flying through on Matthew Ridge, but he took it very, very safe there.
Tim Brasher also chased through there. If Ridge had made a break, Australia never had a fullback, because Brasher was the man that actually chased the ball with Wishart.
It was interesting to hear Frank Endicott saying in midweek that 95% of the tries scored against New Zealand in the past 12 months have come from kicks, Steve.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's something that's into the game now, because it is very difficult that if you get a high ball up or in the low ball, if there's a lot of chases, the pressure is there for the man to take the ball, and a lot of times they don't come up with it.
And that's one thing that he wanted Tony Kemp to do. Put the kicks into the corners. Dallas. Ooh, looked a little high there from Barnett. It was Mr. Smith standing no messing.
You'll have a look here, Brett Dallas. Now Barnett, he comes in over the top, it's too high, and Australia get a penalty. With them kicks, Ray, it's good to put the kicks in, but the important part of the kicks is the chase. New Zealand must chase them.
And they were very weak in that department.
Yeah, that's an department they have to improve on, is their kick chase.
Australia then with a chance to launch the attack. Mark Carroll, another of the many manly players in this Aussie squad. Tuvey to Larson. Larson not in the original selections, flew in as a replacement last week. Had a good performance against Fiji. Johns with the pass. Oh, Menzies trying to break out wide there. I think we'll see this boy Menzies racing out wide off these passes by Johns. Fickler. Inside to Brasher. Brasher going for the line. 4 points. And it was the passing in midfield that once again caught New Zealand out wide. Johns and Fickler. Johns may be the hooker, but he's in a half-back row when he's in the middle. And Brasher accepting the gift, and 4 points.
We'll have a look here. Australia's using the wide game, long passing game. Great ball to Fidino. Shows his size. It's a last-minute thing here. Brasher actually wasn't ready for it. He's taken it well. Gets around Matthew Ridge and scores under the post. And that's not what New Zealand wanted this stage of the game.
But it's definitely what Australia wanted. It was the inside ball from Australia, long wide pass. And then Fiddler just holds it up, drops it back inside to Brasher, and there's a massive gap on the inside. And an easy run to the post.
Certainly was a massive gap. And it's Andrew Johns to take the kicks. Rod Wishart, the normal kicker, has a slight thigh strain, but Johns very, very competent. Adds the conversion. So Australia couldn't have wished for a better start. The favourites already in that driving seat. 6 points to 0 and just over 5 minutes gone.
This last-minute inside ball, they're just wrong foots the sliding defence of New Zealand. It might not have been a planned move, but one that worked very, very well for Australia.
It's a part of the game New Zealand have to work on. Their big men are in the middle of the park, and they don't slide across for that inside ball too good. New Zealand have to keep moving, following that ball the way the ball's going all the time.
But anyone watching Australia against South Africa and Fiji, Steve, should really have seen that with this boy Johns in, the ball is going to go out very, very wide.
He passes, he's got a great passing game. He can get the ball 20, 30 yards away from where he's going, and it certainly upsets the defensive pattern of the opposition.
Mark Carroll. It's up to this number 10 to get through the hard work at first receiver, driving the ball. New Zealand desperate to get back in this game. They really want to get this ball off Australia. Here's a chance now. Ridge and Hoppy in attendance. Sean Hoppy. There's his rugby these days with the Auckland Warriors. Jones. Frank Endicott and Gary Kemble, former Hull player, now assistant Kiwi coach. Oh, well tried there by Henry Paul, but well picked up by Brasher. Good reading of the game from this Kangaroo fullback, but well intended by Henry Paul. They have to break down this Australian defence, Joe.
They have to break them down, but again, it's giving the possession to Australia, and if they don't have that chasing team that Steve talked about, then they're going to exploit the gaps and bring the ball straight the full length of the field almost.
It was more a kick for himself than his team then. As you're talking about individual players, they're great, but they've got to try more as a team. You don't need them little kicks on early tackles for yourself.
Oh, and Johns again, getting out wide. Hill. He's a strong runner, is Terry Hill. Difficult to put down. Australia looking dangerous. Jim Dimmock trying to force the pressure. Good tackle there by Iro. Bickler electing to run. Johns again. Oh, almost plucked out of the air there by Sean Hoppy. He is noted for interceptions, is Hoppy. It was a risk.
It was a risk that had to be taken though, Ray, because if that ball hadn't been stopped, there were two Australian players out wide who would have gladly accepted it, and a try would have been on. Wishart in particular.
You can see the variety Australia's got in their game. You think Fiddler's going to kick. He opted not to kick, passed out to Johns. I thought Johns was going to kick. He decided to pass the ball.
Interesting pack weights there too, Steve. For once, Australia, not the giants we've become accustomed to see over here. Just 15 stone 9 average. That's about a stone a man light for Australia.
It is. Bobby Fulton's gone for the pace and the agility rather than the size.
Brasher again, causing problems. Out wide is this speedy fullback from the Sydney Tigers. Tuvey. Certainly the Kiwis' defence being tested in these early stages. Tuvey didn't relish the attention there. Larson gets that ball away to Coyne. Back again to Carroll. Carroll. Oh, flicked inside. That was an element of luck, I think. But Menzies was hanging around out there. There was an element of luck about it. But class players make their own luck. Australia did just then, and once again when that ball went out wide, New Zealand were found wanting. Tremendous opening from the Kangaroos, and that pace that Fulton wanted, it's telling.
A good offload from Larson. He hits the line, spins. Now he finds Mark Coyne. Mark Coyne can't go anywhere. He hits and spins again. Now Mark Carroll, he sees there's an overlap out wide, offloads. Now this is great thinking there from Johns. Now that was a clever, there was luck in it, but he definitely meant that. He soon the ball went backwards, little tap onto Menzies and scores a try.
Again, a huge gap up the middle, but it's the long pass that's worrying New Zealand. The sliding defence can't cope with it. And now you have Menzies, and when you have a prop forward like Carroll that can throw a ball 30 yards accurately like that and fast, it's going to cause problems all afternoon for New Zealand.
Andrew Johns looking for his second conversion attempt. And no doubt looking for success. Just on that 20-metre line. And he misses just across the face of the post. Relief from one or two of the Kiwi supporters. It may only be 2 points, the loss, but 10 to 12 psychologically is a big difference. And here we see the ball moves out. There's the long pass that does it, but that's instinct, isn't it? A class player. He's made a mistake and still has time to flick the ball inside, Joe.
But they play the percentages so well, Australia. This has all come really from Henry Paul chipping for himself, down in the Australians' half, not gaining the ball. Australia come back steadily and then score a try from it.
You notice that Jeff Tuvey's going to dummy half a lot, and Fiddler and Johns are playing together out wide and creating a lot of problems for the New Zealanders with their passing game.
Australia losing the ball. Knock on there from Terry Hill. So at last from this, a chance for New Zealand to gain possession. Here we see, he goes in, he loses it. Correct decision there from Russell Smith. Oh, Good move from Jones. Henry Paul there. Noticed the number 9 on his back, but he didn't back down. And lying on. At the play the ball. Larson, one of the culprits.
One of them, along with Jim Dimmock, preventing Henry Paul from the fast release at the play of the ball.
You'll have a look here, the Australians, it's the right idea. Get the player on his back so it slows down the play of the ball, but then you must release them. You see Larson, he's laying all over him, he's pushing his shoulders up under the ball to try to make him lose the football. The idea was good, but they have to get off once you get them on their back.
A cut there for Terry Hill. If that goes any worse, he'll certainly have to make a trek to the blood bin. In fact, Mr. Smith just going across to have a check. Matthew Ridge then, with his first attempt, one of the great goal kickers of rugby league. 80% plus strike rate in the Winfield Cup in Australia. And New Zealand at last get themselves some points on the scoreboard. That will put them in a little better heart, Steve.
Yeah, New Zealand, that'll lift them. The 2 points, they're on the scoreboard. They've got something to look forward to. They're only 8 points behind now. They can get on with the game.
It was 2 points that New Zealand desperately needed. Some captains might have opted for the touch finder here and then try and put some pressure on. But 2 points on the board, as Steve says, gives you a chance to come back in again.
And the kick out on the full. Mistake one rarely sees from an Australian side, Steve.
Well, it is. He was disappointed, Andrew Johns, there. It's not the start you want. You want to put pressure on now. New Zealand's off the pressure. Australians under pressure again.
And 78% possession there for Australia. That tells its own story, doesn't it?
It does. Little mistakes. You give the ball to Australia, they will capitalise and score tries.
And Richard, any news down there on the bench?
Yes, Ray, the problem with Terry Hill, the number 4 for Australia, is he's got rather a nasty cut inside his mouth, and he took a bang on the nose as well. They're giving him some gauze to keep the blood away while he's on the pitch. And at this stage of the game, Australia wouldn't want to take Terry off.
Problems there. Oh, well, Stephen Kearney, I think he was objecting to the ball attempt at ripping out there by Fickler. Certainly the Australian was interfering. No need for Kearney to strike out, but the first offence caused by Australia.
It is a rule that you can't hold on to the ball when you're being tackled. Now, Brad Fiddler had his arm under the ball. He's trying to stop Kearney from playing it, and then he's trying to push him, but he didn't actually touch him. But that was good refereeing from Russell Smith there.
So Ridge again accepting the opportunity to add another couple of points.
This is a tactic we used to see off Ellery Hanley when he was playing. It always slowed the play the ball down, just put one hand in. Steve Kearney takes exception to it.
Matthew Ridge just composing himself. Big tug of war for this lad between the Auckland Warriors and Manly for his services next season. Oh, and he gets the 2 points. So, the New Zealand skipper bringing New Zealand back into this game. 4 points from his trusty boot, but still trailing, 10-4.
Almost like a draw on a golf shot here. Bends it in towards the post.
That's why you don't want to give New Zealand any penalties in your half, because you know that Matthew Ridge is up with the best of them when it goes to kicking goals.
New Zealand got to control this ball at the moment. They really have been handing the ball over to Australia too easily.
The message coming down from Frank Endicott, the New Zealand bench, is a fairly reassuring one in the circumstances. He's saying slow things down, don't panic, pick up the runners more quickly, make the first tackle stick.
John Lomax driving in there. Back to Stacey Jones. Jones. A long kick, but picked up by Brassado. He looks in good form, does this Australian fullback this afternoon. Larson. Good tackling there, well met by Quentin Pongia. Kiwi second row, number 12. Carroll. Australia just slowing the game down with their forwards. They're in the lead, they're settling it down. No need for too much adventure in this half. Fittler. To Barnett. Barnett's first real touch, plays his rugby with Cronulla in Sydney. Henry Paul again, moving into the acting half-back position. Jones. Tony Kemp trying to get it moving out wider now. No way through for Kevin Iro, but two big centres here in Blackmore and Iro. Two 6-footers. This is better from New Zealand now. Pongia beginning to get a roll on the 5th tackle. To Ridge. Ridge, oh, that's a tester for Dallas. Well, he cuts across the face of his post. Old professionals watching will flinch a little at that. Shouldn't run across those posts.
Notice young Jeff Purvey's down in back plays, walking back very slowly. He made the tackle on Kevin Iro early. He tackled him well, but he did get injured in it.
We see Jeff Tuvey. He may be very small, only 5.5 feet, but he's a strong tackler. And that was a strong tackle too there from Tony Kemp. Suddenly, the tempo hots up. The Kiwis are moving in much quicker now. More determined in the tackle. Back to Fittler. Came off Jones. Picked up by Henry Paul. He can't get away, but he did well to pick that out. The crowd not liking that tackle by the Australians. But it's New Zealand now, moving the ball better. To Lowry. Jones again, coming into the play more now. Tony Kemp. Oh! Not the best of passes, well taken by Richie Blackmore. But that ball should have been in front of him. He should have been racing onto that. Good round the corner from Ridge. Lomax trying to press his way through, but it's still the Kiwis on the attack. Jones, oh, that's a good one. Brasher's coming for it. The bounce is awkward, but he gets it. Well, full-back should not normally ever let a ball bounce, but it was fortunate there. Roars from the crowd every time the Kiwis put a good tackle in. Dean Pay did well to get that ball away there. Jim Dimmock, oh, strong for a forward pass. But just look who's lurking there again. It's that boy Menzies. Just 21 years old from Manly. Prolific try scorer down under.
You'll have a look at Dimmock here. Now he breaks the tackle, now forward pass. It's the 3rd time Australia's come up with an error in their half. They've had 2 bad kicks, forward pass. They're panicking. They're in front of Australia and they're trying to push things.
Tony Kemp. Back to Iro. Not really running at full pace there. Kemp again.
Australia are pushing a few things. Maybe they're a little shocked at the way they've started the game. I'm sure they didn't expect to score 2 tries so quickly.
Quite a quick and remarkable change in the weather down here. Australia had a very strong gusty wind at their backs early in this game that gave them an advantage, but that wind has almost gone completely now. It's gone very still in the stadium.
That was a good strong run there from Lomax. Kiwis moving across with Tony Kemp now. Good distribution in midfield. Blackmore's got it outside. He's got it to Huffey. Oh, he can't get away. Good cover there. Neither could he get the ball away, but it's Australia on the rack here. The Kangaroos. Tony Kemp. They can grab a kick through. Australia let it go. Just too hard on that ball. But pressure on the Kangaroos. And the Kiwis showing that they can play rugby.
It's an up-tempo from New Zealand. Kemp dabs it through a little bit too strong. If it had come off the post, it might have been a problem. But just runs dead.
Larson had an excellent series in the State of Origin down under. Carroll, the workhorse in this Kangaroo pack. Mark Carroll, number 10. Tuvey. Fittler. There's no way Brad Fittler will play rugby in his own half, Joe, is there?
Well, Steve mentioned that they've made 3 mistakes. Brad Fittler, being the captain, the organising the side, said, let's get rid of this ball, let's get it down into New Zealand territory. Let's make them make mistakes.
You'll have a look here, Brad Fittler. It's only the 4th tackle. He doesn't wait for the last tackle. He sees that New Zealand's up. Find a lot of ground there with a kick downfield. You can't run the ball that far. Let's put it down there. Matthew Ridge, that's a gate into touch. Now, New Zealand are under pressure. They've got to run the ball out from their line.
The Kangaroo skipper, Brad Fittler. Fast, pacey game, just 3 scrums to date. Not an awful lot of scrums in modern rugby league. Years ago when we had, dare I say, proper hookers who actually hooked the ball, with 60, 70 scrums in a game, but much quicker now, much faster. And that's where you'll see a hooker, number 9, at loose forward. It really is the last rites for old-fashioned hookers these days, Joe, isn't it?
Definitely so. New Zealand managed to get a penalty there by keeping the ball in the scrum. They've worked on it, obviously, in training. The scrum half broke without the ball and caused Australia offside.
John Lomax causing some problems, as is Henry Paul again, coming away from this acting half-back position. Australia asleep there. Lowry. Pongia.
The problem with John Lomax for New Zealand, he's got a very bad bang on his right eye, and it's causing him a bit of trouble with his vision. Okasini's warming up as a precaution on the sidelines.
Mr. Russell judging that Stacey Jones knocked on there. There we see that that knock.
You have a look, Stacey Jones, he tried to put in a little kick for himself again. It wasn't a team kick, it was a kick for Stacey Jones, and Australia's going to get the ball now.
Yes, he puts the kick in, but there's no one else coming either side of it, Joe, is there, looking for it?
It wasn't so much the lack of support, it was the fact that Steve said that it was kicking in for himself. It wasn't a distance kick, it wasn't going to put any pressure on anybody but New Zealand.
John Lomax having to go off with that cut above the eye, and Haitro Okasini coming on. Okasini, member of the Auckland Warriors Club, and featured with Carlisle over here not so long ago. Dallas. Good tackle there by Iro, and Iro being penalised for holding Dallas by the leg. Interference at the play of the ball.
You'll have a look here, Kevin Oro, great tackle. Now he lifts his leg up. Now that's a penalty. You've got to release the man straight away and let him regain his feet and play the ball.
Iro there, guilty of that professional foul, holding the leg up in order to allow his team to get back in defence. Dean Pay. Good tackle. Strong tackle there from Lowry. Nice switch to the blind side. Fittler again. Oh, but that's a good tackle by Okasini. Well, he certainly has announced his presence on the field. Jim Dimmock always gets the ball away in a tackle. But again, the Kiwis moving in quickly. Henry Paul this time. Larson. Johns. Oh, that's good. It's swirling there. Oh, Wishart was there. Knock on, surely. Yes. But that's the secret of a kick like that, isn't it, Joe? Following up. Rod Wishart was there. He almost plucked it out of the air.
You have speed out on the flanks for Australia. It's high enough for the chasers to get there. Hoffy's got problems.
Lowry. Mr. Smith screaming at the Australians to get off the play of the ball very, very quickly. But these Kiwi forwards making ground now. Ball again. A little kick through again himself, but Brash is there. Again, a little too far. I think Tim Brash has been looking at the videos of this Kiwi side. Henry Paul, he likes to do that, Steve, doesn't he?
He does like to do it. Once again, he's in on his side of halfway. A little chip kick for himself. Now Australia's on the attack again on halfway there. You have to wait till the opposition get tired. Australia aren't tired yet. Once they start getting tired, them kicks will work for Henry Paul.
And again, Ray, we see one of the most tiring aspects of the game is making tackles. And if a team continues to turn the ball over to the opposition, then you've got to make those tackles.
But just look at those passes from Andrew Johns there. I mean, they take play 30 yards across field. Open up all sorts of possibilities. Oh, beautiful handling. Coyne cuts back inside. Still in possession. Johns, Dimmock. But for all the passing, they've only gained 2 yards. Good defence from New Zealand. Hoppy picks up well. Andrew Johns taking a knock. Barnett coming in well there. Taking Australia by surprise. Coming from that left wing. Helping out on the right. Pongia. Certainly a lot of lying on here from the Kangaroos. Oh, that was a forced pass. Paul gets it away nicely. Kemp, Hoppy again. But again, good cover by the green and gold. They certainly flood from touchline to touchline. Ocassini, streaming in the wind. He loves the charges. Does this big, strong Kiwi forward. Kemp, way off, with a high one, with a tester. Oh, Brash has lost it. Oh, why did Kevin Iro pass the ball there? He caught the ball, but I suppose it was the fifth tackle.
It was the last tackle, so he had to get rid of it. Didn't matter. It was a great kick here. You'll have a look. Brash is under it. Now Iro boots over the top. Now it's the last tackle. It's a turnover anyway, so it's Australia's ball. But I'll tell you one thing, Ray, there's no love lost between Australia and New Zealand.
Well, there never has been, has there?
Yesterday we almost had what you could call, what you could term an international derby match between England and Wales, and this is no different here. A lot of passion involved. Australia, New Zealand, always very tough game.
Well, I think a little bit more than passion there, Joe. Certainly foul play. Terry Hill definitely taken out there. Just look at that that punch there. No need for that. And then the elbow going down. Here we see Hill driving in.
Terry Hill there comes in. You see they come over the top. You can't really see it there, but Pongia and Kearney, they certainly give plenty of Terry Hill. He didn't have blood on his head before the tackle, but he certainly had it after.
Mr. Smith just having a word with the Australian forwards whilst the colleague recovers with the smelling salts, but certainly he took a heavy knock there, and it was an illegal one. Mr. Smith, a very firm referee. I saw him in charge of the Western Samoa and Wales game, and he handled that very, very well. Carroll. Oh, he's lost it. That's a knock-on. Rather strange to see a Kangaroo forward losing the ball on the first charge, but he does, Joe.
Great defence. It's Quentin Pongia set himself after the penalty to hit hard, and it jarred the ball loose.
Blackmore to Hoppy with some space. He got Hill outside him.
You see Rod Wishart come in 100 mile an hour to make a tackle there, and he's hurt himself.
Paul. There we see Rod Wishart. He came in looking for the tackle. The Kiwis now piling the pressure on Australia. Looks like a knock to the head. Kemp. Oh, Kevin Iro couldn't take the ball. Oh, almost like a Paul Daniels act there, juggling it for 5 or 6 yards, and then just couldn't take it. Big, strong, powerful Kevin Iro, the lead centre.
Kevin was annoyed with himself here. There was a lot of defence, a lot of traffic in the area. Just couldn't get there.
Well, great pass from Tony Kemp. Now bounces off Kevin Iro's arms. He's still trying to get it, eyes on the ball, just not quick enough to get there.
Offside at the scrum.
It's a crucial part for both teams now. We're down to about 7 minutes to go, and both teams are tied. There's usually a try scored just before half-time. Which team, we don't know.
And this is when Australia are at their most dangerous, just before half-time, when the side is relaxing. A high tackle. Rod Wishart recovered. Well, Russell Smith, he certainly has to clamp down on these two sides.
Strong run from Larson. The referee adjudged that it was above the collar and a penalty. Now it looks like Johns will probably take the kick from this penalty.
He certainly will, but it's strong, hard stuff out there. A little indiscipline creeping in, and really, if you want to get yourself to Wembley, you've got to keep the discipline. Andrew Johns will accept opportunities like this every day.
Ray, all the clapping, all the fans, they don't like the Australian runners have got 3 and 4 runners on there all the time. It's making, giving the players drinks and talking to them, and that's what all this clapping's about. There's no need for all that on there. The players should be out there, let them get on with the job.
Yeah, I agree. Andrew Johns, then he'll not allow any booing or a slow hand clapping to disturb him, but it certainly puts him off with his accuracy. Again, a miss from Johns, so the score remains still in Australia's favour. And there we have one of the assistants, 2 of them there. They've never been off the field. In fact, I'm surprised they don't have numbers on their backs.
Well, that's 3 and 4 on there a minute ago. There was as many runners on there as there was players.
And here's another one coming, but notice he's got a walkie-talkie in his hand. That should not be allowed.
Well, the Australian number 4, Terry Hill, is certainly in the wars. He's got double vision now. That's why he's under almost constant treatment on the pitch. Bobby Fulton wants him to stay on for as long as he possibly can. But Terry Hill himself has been shaking his head as though he can't continue. But he is a tough customer.
He's a tough customer, but one can't take too many risks with knocks about the head. Oh, the ball picked up by Henry Paul. And holding on. Surely here is an opportunity to send a player to the sin bin by Russell Smith. In the English Championship this season, any holding at the play of the ball, any wasting tactics, and referees have been dispatching players to the sin bin. Yet in this World Cup, Joe, they haven't been.
Well, international rules shouldn't be any different. That was a classic example of a player needing to be sent to the sin bin for slowing the play of the ball down.
11 penalties so far, Steve.
Yeah, it's pretty even both ways. It's been pretty tough out there, and they're a little bit hot under the collar, some of those players.
It certainly is tough. It's tough, and it's rough amongst these forwards. Oh, Mark Horrow coming the wrong way. Couldn't take that ball. And once again, New Zealand losing possession. They can't afford to do this against the world champions, Australia. You've got to make play, Joe, from every set of 6, haven't you?
Well, it's almost criminal. You've got the pressure on, you've got the chance to attack Australia on their own line, and then you put the ball down in the scrum. And once again, the green and gold of Australia come away with the ball. I
think the tackling, though, is so fierce, Steve. That is causing handling problems, isn't it?
It is. Both teams are getting tired now. But what's happened is the Australian are like the walking wounded. They've been tackling the big Kiwis all day. And we're talking about sizes before the smaller Australians. Fulton's gone for agility. But the Kiwis are hurting them.
Just around 3 minutes remaining in this first half. And certainly the Kiwis are moving into the tackle, but Australia displaying these handling skills. There's another 30-yard pass to Fittler. Oh, and a beautiful dummy inside. He's got that man Menzies again. He's got pressure inside him. Picked up by Stacey Jones, but a knock-on rules Russell Smith. And I think New Zealand will settle with that, because here was almost a certain try.
Yeah, it was great break from Brad Fiddler. Now, Menzies had the ball. He had the opportunity to offload to Brasher, but he held onto the ball too long.
Yeah, the inside ball was covered. It was Barnett that just got a hand to it.
Well, the ball did appear to go behind him, didn't it?
It actually went forward first. The ball went forward, then come backwards. So the ruling by Russell Smith was correct.
Tim Brasher working hard, coming into the line at every opportunity. This is the danger time now for New Zealand. Closing minutes of this half. Australia looking for another try. Out to Dean Pay, good release from Pay. Johns again to Menzies. Tuvey plays it down the same side. Coyne dummies his way through. We said this was the danger period. This is when Australia like to strike, and you don't strike at a better time than this. Mark Coyne has done the trick, and it takes Australia out even further. The St George centre.
Just a half a chance on the outside. Coyne throws the dummy, steps back inside. Kevin Iro, although he makes a tackle, can't prevent Coyne crossing the line.
Yeah, Tuvey, good vision here. He offloads. He sees Dean Pay there. Now, a little dummy from Coyne. Steps back inside, beats Tony Kemp. Iro's, he just can't hold him back. Over the line. A try for Australia just before half-time.
All the good work done by New Zealand in the last 10-15 minutes, undone there by the magic of Coyne and the handling of the Kangaroos. That is what is causing New Zealand problems out wide.
If New Zealand had managed to keep Australia out, then they would have gone into the change rooms at half-time. Quite confident, I'm sure, with the last part of this half. They played very well, they had the self-confidence, and they were playing as a team more. But now, for the try from Australia, it really means that they are in charge.
Andrew Johns, but again, he's left his kicking boots at home. We saw this lad in tremendous form up at Gateshead. He kicked 11 that night, but he's having a problem here.
Yeah, Dean Pay, good offload. Dummy from Mark Coyne there. Fends off. Iro, no, he can't stop him. Good try.
Matthew Rich to restart. Just onto the half-time. Australia, I'm sure, will hold this ball. They'll be happy with this 40 minutes. Larson just taking it up.
The Kiwi forward John Lomax is now back on the bench. He's had that head wound bandaged, and he is fit enough to go back into this game. John Lomax back on the bench.
Players in the blood bin have unlimited time in which to reappear under the international rules. Tuvey operating the acting half-back. Well, there again, Jeff Tuvey. Well, he's broken through. Didn't get the ball away. Surely that was a forward pass. It is. But I was about to say, Jeff Tuvey could not put the pass back to his colleague because of a person giving out water.
Frank Panisi was there as the runner. He's their trainer. He was going to pass to Frank, but he's had to take off himself.
Frank's not that good a kicker either, is he?
He's not.
Jones taking the quick tap. I think he realises that, well, it's too late for him. I think Stacey Jones realised that the seconds were ticking away. Half-time, New Zealand with a lot to do. Trailing Australia by 14 points to 4. Referee Russell Smith just checking his watch. 40 minutes remaining then to find out who will meet England. There we see John Lomax returning from the blood bin. Lowry. Good tackle by Larson. Quentin Pongia. Oh, he's lost that ball again, but it went behind. But that sure is a knockout. And once again, New Zealand being pressured. Gene Namu, the substitute number 14, came on at half-time.
You know, look, Henry Paul pushing the pass there. He shouldn't have tried to pass it. Now, Frank Endicott would have said to New Zealand at half-time, don't panic. We're not out of this game. If we can score first, put pressure on Australia, we're back into it. And they've come up with a mistake in early tackles.
Tuve. It's a coin. Well looked after there by Iro. New Zealand will need to call all on the reserves of energy here from the forwards. A lot of work to do in midfield. Namu for Tony Kemp. Good switch of the ball again by Johns. Johns and Fickler causing mayhem in midfield. And Robbie O'Davis. Quick, fast man from Newcastle Knights. Oh, good slip ball there to pay. But that's a good tackle by Ridge. But it's Australia piling the pressure on. Johns again, this time with a little grubber kick. A little too hard, I think. Yep. Well, Frank Endicott, the New Zealand coach, said you had to do some unlikely things to beat Australia. Just what can we expect in this 40 minutes, Joe?
Well, the unlikely things they've been doing is losing the ball at the moment. They have to hold on to that ball and look for some of the individual flair that they have in the team to break up the Australian defence.
Well, let's praise the defence of Australia, as sure, as sound as ever. New Zealand moving that ball out wider now. Kevin Idle at last gets going. Oh, good dummy, but didn't escape the clutches there of Tuve. But this is better now from the Kiwis. Jones puts the high kick up. Brashes underneath it. Oh, it slips out to Iro. Can Iro get into the corner? Oh, why did Kevin Iro pass it? Surely he should have gone for the line himself. A big man, 15.5 stone plus, and he passed inside.
You'll have a look down the replay. Brasher couldn't take the ball. Now Iro goes off right inside. Now Australia will get the ball. Mark Coyne knocks the ball on. I don't know what he's ruled there, but Australia's getting the feed here. I thought Mark Coyne knocked the ball.
Well, he did, there we can see. But it's back in New Zealand's possession. It's Namu now with Henry Paul. The crowd roaring the Kiwis on. Always in support of the underdog and lying on again. Larson doesn't quite like the
same penalties before for holding the ball, refusing to allow him the ball.
Well, I really do think it's time a player was sent to the sin bin, Steve.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's up to Russell Smith. He's penalising them all the time, but he hasn't sent anybody yet. I just hope he doesn't wait to the last bit of the game and may cost the team a victory or a loss. Not a pretty picture there from Tony Kemp. Real problems. And at last, Russell Smith is having a word with the water carrier. And this really is reaching farcical proportions. I cannot understand how any player wants to drink so much. No wonder there's a drought up here in Yorkshire.
To go back to the penalty, something has to be done. Sin bin is probably the only answer, because now New Zealand are going to get 2 points from this when there's possibly a chance of 4 or even 6.
At last, something for those Kiwi youngsters to smile at, but a long way to go yet. 14-6 in Australia's favour. Good kick. And just look how many the men they have carrying bottles.
I think at one stage in the first half they were all on the pitch at the same time.
Well, let's hope something's done about that before we get to Wembley next Saturday. Jason Lowry driving in, had a good game as the prop forward, never been afraid to take the ball up. Henry Paul. And lying on again. Again another penalty. Menzies and Larson involved. The point about this lying on, just 3 minutes, there was no need whatsoever for number 9 to fall on there then.
There wasn't. You'll see Andrew Johns come over the top. Now Mark Carroll makes the tackle, Larson there. Now a third one. Andrew, he just lies on to hold him down. He's trying to throw it down. Good refereeing, but as you said before, maybe it's time for a yellow card.
Well, Malcolm Reilly, the former Great Britain coach, now coaches quite a few of these Australian players up at Newcastle Knights. Namu to Horrow. Mark Horrow plays his rugby in Western Suburbs in Sydney. Namu again, slips inside to Jones. Kearney trying to make a break. Good tackle there by Larson. But it's the Kiwis putting it together now. Blackmore. Good pass, well picked up by Sean Hoppy. New Zealand moving the ball, and it's this man Namu who's putting it together now. Kevin Iro. Oh, just look at the tackle there by Jeff Tooby. 5.5 feet. Yet in he goes. He puts his body on the line against the big man Iro. And Tooby comes away with the ball.
Yes, it's a blow for New Zealand. Tony Kemp has got his left ankle thickly strapped, covered in ice. It's seriously swollen, and there could be some ligament damage to that ankle. So Tony Kemp off on the bench. But Gene Namu is on the field, and of course Gene Namu is a very outstanding player.
He certainly is. But I don't think Tony Kemp will take any further part. But New Zealand, for all the good work, they need a try badly, Joe, don't they?
And on occasions that they've had a chance to score, they've either come up with a mistake, or Australia forced the penalty, which has given them 2 points instead of the possible 4.
Namu again. Hoppy coming in, helping out the forwards. Henry Paul, that's a good pass. Ridge just can't escape. Menzies lurking behind the line there, doing a good cover job for Australia. Stacey Jones, Pongia. Canberra Raiders forward. Lomax. Oh, good charge by Lomax. And he's got the ball out. Picked up there by Hoppy. Good pass, good run by the front forward. These Kiwi forwards coming more and more into the game now. Jones puts the pressure on Dallas. He can take it.
You'll have a look here. It was a great kick. Dallas under pressure and takes it well. He was under a lot of pressure there from Barnett, but young Brett Dallas showed that he had a lot of courage.
Carroll. Australia easing their way out of that 20-minute area. Oh, good passing there again, and it's Menzies on hand. Now then, just look at this boy go. It's a race to the line. Matthew Ridge is going for him. Hoppy is there, but he's going to go over. Sensational try from this boy, Steve Menzies. Reminding me of that magnificent effort of Wayne Pearce, the Australian second row way back in 1982, when they announced modern rugby to Great Britain. Menzies there all the way.
Little intricate passing between Fittler and Johns, and then Menzies is playing the second row. He's almost like a centre. He's got the pace to outstrip any defence, and there he goes again. New Zealanders do get to him, but can't hold him down.
You see here's great reflexes from Andrew Johns here. Now you see Fiddler looks inside, sees Johns. Now as soon as he gets the ball, he passes. This is the second try that Andrew Johns has made for Steve Menzies. He's scoring him, he's doing the running, but Andrew Johns has certainly had a lot to do with the 2 tries that Steve Menzies has scored.
Andrew Johns then. just 15 metres out, to the left of the post. In attempt to swing that in, he does, just inside the upright. The flags go high, the smile on his face tells us he's happy with that. And so he should be. 20 points to 6, Australia move out. 10 minutes gone in the second half. But this run from Menzies, Joe, quite something.
Yeah, but it was the pass, little flick pass almost from Johns. Just found Menzies in again the space that he needs to show his pace. And he's very, very quick for a second row forward.
He runs strongly. He can hand off in the tradition of good runners from Australia like Ron Coote and Wayne Pearce. Steve Menzies. Tuvey, again, gutsy player. Pay always manages to get that ball away. Tuvey again, never afraid to run at the heart of the opposition defence. Fittler, again, the switch inside. Picked up by Carroll. Coyne. Dallas. Well covered there by Iro. Oh, and a chance here for Horrell. He does well there. It ricocheted off his foot. Henry Paul. If anything, I think Henry Paul's playing a bit too near the rucks, Joe. He's getting a little bit tied up with the forwards. I'd like to see him a couple of men out with a little bit of space.
If he does that, he'll have to swap roles and let somebody else go into the acting halfback position to give himself a little bit more space to use his skills.
The Kiwis then trying to mount an attack. Paul again at Yatsin half-back. Namu. Again that little chip kick through, but New Zealand ball again. Not another 6 tackles. No Australian player made to use the ball, so we continue with the tackle number. But that chip kick to the corner, keeping the pressure on the Kangaroos from Richie Blackmore. Australia 7 times winners of this World Cup.
I think you'll see Richie Blackmore would have been better off running the ball. If he had a kick coming over towards the winger, he would have drew him in, and his winger Hoppy on the outside would have had a clear run to the line. I don't think that kick was the right option at that stage of the game.
Terry Hill recovered from that bad knock in the first half. Jim Dimmock.
Well, that shows the possession for this half, and New Zealand do have the advantage, but it's Australia that have the try in the second half.
So the territorial advantage is even, but Australia are just doing that little bit more when they have got the ball.
And this man Tuvey putting the Kiwis on the back foot by going at the heart of that defence. Then the kick from Fittler. Matthew Ridge.
It was like a brick wall, that chase on the kick. Then Australia kicked downfield and they had a straight line. New Zealand couldn't find any holes anywhere.
New Zealand having problems opening up this Australian defence. Lomax once again charging forward, but still no way through. Penalty, not playing the ball with his foot. I think when you see that, you realise that tiredness is setting in.
Yeah, he was tired then. You see that Lomax just pushed it through. He tried to play it too quick because he didn't even have a dummy half there. Henry Paul had to rush to get there, and they're just trying to get away. They're trying to panic now. They are panicking now, New Zealand. They have to settle down.
Well, still another 25 minutes to play. And Andrew Johns just trying to add to the pressure. With a kick at goal. Prolific point scorer back home there in Newcastle. Very talented lad. Proof that not just good wine comes from the Hunter Valley. Here, another product. Andrew Johns. No doubt watched very closely by his coach, Mal Reilly. And he must be delighted at his protégé's performance, but not with his goal kicking, I'm afraid, this afternoon.
Looks like there might be a bit of a breeze out there behind New Zealand's back, because when Andrew kicked the ball, it seemed to stay up in the air and float a bit.
There is quite a strong breeze, Steve, down there. Tony Iro coming on for John Lomax. Pongia to Tony Iro, number 17. There is John Lomax, probably troubled with that cut above the eye. Namu. Oh, we needed a runner to come on that pass there in the gap. Stephen Kearney. Jones. One of the many teenagers making their way at the Auckland Warriors. Now that's a good chase. That's a very good chase by Richie Blackmore. Helped by Tony Iro. That keeps Australia down here. And New Zealand have got to keep the green and gold here. Carroll. Only 9 of last season's Ashes winning squad in this Australian World Cup party. Just shows how they can produce and reproduce players season after season. Johns again. Beautiful passing. Robbie O'Davis. Another successful Newcastle Knights club. Johns. Jason Smith coming on for Mark Carroll. Another solid, no-nonsense forward. Bobby Poulton using his substitutes well. Mark Carroll's had a good hour. Kearney. Well, New Zealand not able to beat this cover out wide with the long passes and not able to pierce it with the short forward probe, Steve. Well, I spoke too soon. Here are New Zealand. Who would be a commentator? Richard Barnett getting through. Namu then pushing it for the Kiwis. Tony Iro. He's got support outside there from Richie Blackmore. And a handover.
New Zealand look a lot sharper since Gene Namu's come on. He's taking the ball to that defensive line and causing Australia some problems.
And the toughness of his game is taking its toll on the Australians as well. Rod Wishart's on the bench with a touch of double vision. And Mark Carroll, who's just come off, he'd had some smelling salts on the pitch before he came off. He's got a nasty bang on the bridge of his nose and on his cheekbone as well.
Well, we can see that knock there just underneath his eye. Brasher again, using his pace, but good cover by Namu and Paul. Fittler pushing that ball to the corner, sending Ridge back. Richard Barnett.
Right, they keep running at Jeff Tuvey all the time. He's only a little bloke, but he just keeps knocking them down. He goes around the legs and he's a tough player. Kevin Iro
trying to burst through, looking for support. Kearney, that's a good pass to Tony Iro. He's got Henry Paul there. Oh, beautiful pass from Henry Paul. Kearney inside to Pongia. Back again to Tony Iro. This is good stuff from New Zealand. Oh, just a support player short, but the Kiwis on the attack. Jean Namu, superb long pass to Iro. Iro cuts inside, gets it to Blackmore. Oh, again, a lovely pass, one-handed. And Barnett is in. That was style, that was class, that was good handling from the Kangaroos. And at last they break the cover down. Richard Barnett gets the touchdown. But some of that handling in midfield, well, it has to be seen again to be believed.
One occasion here where New Zealand put their individual skills all together collectively. It's Richard Blackmore that manages to get the pass round the back of the defender. And Barnett scores a great try. That was great handling skills from New Zealand.
You see here, good quick play the ball. Now, Jean Namu, he's the man. He's taking the ball forward for New Zealand now. He's creating space for the big men out wide. Iro, he's going to offload here. Good offload to Blackmore. Inside to Barnett. Barnett's going to score a great try. Jean Namu, he's the man that's getting New Zealand going forward.
He certainly is, and this is a vital period, the final 20 minutes. Players are beginning to tire, legs beginning to feel a little like lead. Can New Zealand come back here now? They certainly have the power out there in the centres with Iro and Blackmore. But they have to move that ball wide. They have to outflank this Australian cover. Ridge then with an important goal. Oh, it's near, but no, not quite. Those goals are very, very important as these minutes tick away. 20 points to 10, but still a lot to play for, Joe.
An awful lot to play for and an awful lot to do, but it is Namu that's produced the goods in this second half, coming on in replace of Kemp. Long passes, Kevin Iro, the big centre, on the left-hand side this time. Short pass, tries to just lobs it over the top. Dallas have nothing to do. And then Richard Blackmore, although the defence is there, just pops the pass round the corner of Menzies, and Barnett's in support. And for once, Tim Brasher can't stop an attack.
And New Zealand running determinedly now as Ruben Wiki, another big powerful centre, comes on. So Frank Endicott, the Kiwi coach, throwing all the big guns on the field now. And Henry Paul. Blackmore. Good run by Ruben Wiki. Jones, Namu again. He's causing problems. Good ball against Iro. Oh, he fairly throws him out of the way. He sent Coyne sprawling there on the field. This is the best period for the Kiwis. High kick to the corner. Not too high, too long, and the pressure eases on Australia. The Kiwis applying the pressure. This man especially, Joe, Jean Namu. But the Aussies, they can absorb it, can't they?
They can. He was annoyed with himself with this kick. He was just put too much weight on it. He went to put height on it. Instead, he got distant.
"15 minutes remaining. Australia in control, but New Zealand making one last-ditch effort to reach Wembley. And both sides, I think, Joe, desperate to retain possession.
Yeah, the hard part for New Zealand now, although they have to attack Australia and maybe throw caution to the wind, they mustn't throw out stupid passes. They mustn't go over the top and try to make a try out of nothing.
They've still got plenty of time to go here. There's 15 minutes to go, so there's no need to rush.
There isn't. Ridge taking his time there. Well, a risky pass, but Sean Hoppy was up to it. Even Stevens in the tackling department. Australia.
New Zealand need to go forward. They're going across field. They need someone to take it forward like that. You need the yardage.
Australia offside. Henry Paul very, very quickly taking that kick. Oh, and it's a good one. 30 metres he gains. New Zealand looking for a roll here now. Jason Lowry charging in. But a good tackle there from Menzies. Pongia coming more into the game now is this powerful Canberra Raiders second row. The grand finalists with Canberra Raiders. Henry Paul. Too near the rucks for me, Joe, Henry Paul. I'd like to see him much out wider if they can get the ball to him.
Well, Frank Endicott must have given him that role. He's obviously been in there. He has got the skills to play any position basically on the field. He's done a good job when he's been acting half-back in the hooking role. But I know what you mean. It is nice to see him right wide.
Blackmore. Oh, he lost it. Picked up by Terry Hill. But of course, New Zealand are liable to lose the ball at this stage. They have to force the ball, Steve, don't they? They have to take the risks.
They do. They need to score, but there still is that element that they have got time on their side, so they don't have to rush. 2 tries they need to score, but they're not going to score if they keep pushing passes.
And of course, I was just about to say, Australia only have to hold the ball, but Tim Brasher knows how that mistake could prove costly. Possession 9/10 of the game at the moment. There we see the knock on. I think a move racing through his mind before he'd even got hold of the ball. There is Henry Paul coming in. Namu. Blackmore. Well, who would be a coach at these times? Bobby Fulton and Frank Endicott. Possibly one's future at stake in these final minutes. Namu. Back to Jones. Tony Iro. But this Australian defence holding, shuffling across from touchline to touchline. Jones again.
New Zealand are using more angle runners now. They're taking the decoy runners to take Australia's defence away.
Henry Paul putting through, but Brasher again. He's picked up 2 or 3 short chip kicks from the Kiwis.
I don't know if you agree, Steve, but it's almost as if New Zealand need an older head, somebody to calm them down and say, listen, we have got 10 minutes or so, we need to score 2 tries, but let's do it patiently, let's try and attack. And it just as if there's experience missing there somewhere.
Larson, good tackle there by Pongia, really set the big Aussie back in his tracks. Well, Andrew Johns might not have an old head, but he certainly knows what to do. Long kick right down there. Puts New Zealand back on their own 20-metre line. Using Richard Barnett. Pongia. New Zealand have got to get down at the other end. Henry Paul, twisting, turning, but no way through. And lying on again. Well, I make that the 4th or 5th time that Australia have been penalised here for lying on at the play of the ball. Certainly professional fouls. There we see.
And still no sin bin.
But 45 metres gained from that kick. Lowry. Namu to Tony Iro. New Zealand moving nearer to that try line. Out wide, Namu again finds Stephen Kearney. Kearney shrugs Tuvey off. Still the green and gold defence holds. Namu. Pungia. Offside. Another 6 tackles against Australia. Quick tap again. Ostasini driving in. Oh, tremendous effort there. Almost took the Kangaroos by surprise. Jones. Well, Kearney coming along the face of the post there. It needs some direct running now. Namu again. Nice switch of play. Tony Iro. Will he go himself? He's in! Tony Iro! He's in for a try! Australia beginning to tire. The Kiwis roaring back. And Tony Iro took matters into his own hands. He went for the line and he scored. 9 minutes remaining. 6 points the difference. And suddenly the McAlpine Stadium is alight here.
Flat wall of defence by Australia, but Namu switches play to the left-hand side, and the substitute Tony Iro spots the half gap and dives over.
You'll have a look here, Henry Paul, then Namu switches back to the other blind side, sees Tony Iro, now Larson will get round the legs there.
And Matthew Ridge puts the ball over the cross line, and suddenly the 16,600 crowd sense that the Kiwis are back in this game. 4 points the difference. Seconds ticking away.
You'll have a look here. Gene Namu will switch the play back, finds Tony Iro. Now Larson, number 12, he's got through a hell of a lot of work, but he's very tight. He couldn't move forward enough there, and he's a tight player.
Cassini charging in. The fans really relish the Maori. Tony Iro. But suddenly the Kangaroos move up a pace now. A place at Wembley at stake. 7.5 minutes remaining. Who will it be? England coach Villada can sit back comfortably and watch. Australia will be very, very keen to keep the Kiwis down here. Kearney looking for a quick play the ball. Henry Paul comes away. Good tackle by Johns. Steve Menz is the man of the match. I don't think very many will agree with that. Would disagree with that, sorry. He's read the kicks quite well, Brasher, this afternoon.
That was one occasion, Ray, where the chip was on. Australia were flat. It was the last tackle. They've tipped on a few occasions, New Zealand, during the game, but that was one occasion where it could have come off.
And the Kiwis have played all their cards now in this game. They've used all 4 of their permitted substitutes. Australia, though, they've got 2 left.
But Australia, they're not out yet. Let's not forget they're leading by 4 points. They are in control. They are the world champions. The ball not going to hand. Well, the referee was looking for a Kiwi to play the ball there. He was looking for advantage, but not to be. The knockout.
We'll have a look here. Brett Dallas, no one in front of him. He drops the ball, and New Zealand are going to come up with a scrum feed.
Yeah, and Matthew Ridge putting a tackle in there on the man without the ball. Not spotted by the referee. Kevin Iro down there, taking a knock.
We'll have a look here. Dimmick sees he's got 3 on 2 here. Offloads to Coyne. Coyne offloads to Brett Dallas in open spaces, but he can't take the ball.
Kevin Iro back in play. Namu. Just 5 minutes remaining. 4 points the difference. Otasini charging in, looking to get the ball away, couldn't do. Iro receiving attention. Pongia. I don't think any of these players will leave the field of their own accord. Henry Paul to Kearney. Richie Blackmore. beginning to pressure Australia out wide. It's taking 2 and 3 of these lighter, smaller Australian backs to put the big men down in midfield. Namu senses an upset. Tony Iro again. Oh, he's lost the ball. Handing it there by Ruben Wiki. A costly handling error. 19 in the game as a whole. Terry Hill looking for a way around. Not around Kevin Iro though. Oh, good movement there by Coyne. Very sharp is this St George centre. Good, neat sidestep. Australia then roaring back. They've absorbed the pressure. Fickler switching tight to Dimmock. Johns keeps the ball going with Larson. Tuvey to Johns. Matthew Ridge is underneath it. Oh, that's a tricky one. Oh, he's lost it. They've all lost it. That was a very, very tricky kick that. Brasher lost it. New Zealand lost it. Oh, and quickly played by Henry Paul. Surely he was interfered with, and that will be a sin bin, I'm certain. Yes, he's going. Terry Hill into the sin bin. Well, he may look rather incredulous about the whole affair, but I wouldn't disagree with the referee. One or two of the Kangaroos have been asking to be dispatched to the sin bin all afternoon, interfering at the play of ball, interfering at the tap here. So, 3 minutes remaining. Australia down to 12 men. And New Zealand looking for glory.
Last gasp for New Zealand now. The message has come down from Frank Endicott that when they've got the ball in the 5th tackle, they must go in the air. They must bomb the Australians, nothing on the ground.
Wiki. Frank Endicott biting his lip. Kearney. Kevin Iro. He's got Blackmore alongside him. Just can't get through. Good cover tackle. Wide play. Bobby Fulton, not been in this situation for a long time. Henry Paul again, gets a good pass out to Matthew Ridge. Oh, and he's going for the line! Kevin Iro's going over! Oh, a magnificent try! New Zealand have come back, and it's Kevin Iro! The crowd going absolutely wild here! Tremendous effort from New Zealand in this final quarter. The big men at last beginning to pay off. Kevin Iro nips it at the corner.
You see here, they switch back to Terry Hill's side. Terry Hill's in the sin bin. Henry Paul's good offload to Matthew Ridge. Sees Blackmore to Iro. The Australian cover can't get across, and Terry Hill, he's in the sin bin. They score on his centre.
Skilled by New Zealand. The switch back inside to the short side on the right. Henry Paul, speculative pass. Richie Blackmore gets half a gap. Puts Kevin Iro away down the sideline. You can see that line that he's going to score. 20 points.
And the kick from the touchline from Matthew Ridge, one of the best kickers in world rugby, possibly to take New Zealand into the Halifax World Cup final. The pressure on the skipper. No goal, no conversion. Oohs and ahs from the crowd. Half a minute remaining. Locked at 20 points each.
You'll have a look here. Some great passing there. You see it. Kevin, Matthew Ridge too powerful, too fast, scores in the corner.
Matthew Ridge might have missed that conversion, but he is the player that can take the drop goal, and I'm sure if New Zealand do get down in Australia's territory, they'll be looking to Matthew Ridge's right foot to slot over.
Into injury time now. We did have a couple of stoppages, but not for too long. Ridge urging his forwards on. He wants to get near that line. He wants an attempted drop. Namu sends Blackmore out wide. Blackmore's coming through. Richie Blackmore coming along here. What a terrific tackle there by Robbie O'Davis. But the Kiwis on the attack. Stacey Jones trying to punch his way through down the middle. Looking for a quick play the ball. Pongia, it goes to Ridge. Is he going to have a shot at goal? Left-footed he does. It's a huge one. Just to the left of the upright. Wonderful effort there from Matthew Ridge. He nipped inside. He struck him with his left foot. And my word, it nearly went over.
You see Matthew Ridge, he has to go back to his left foot, has a snapshot, and just missed just wide of the post.
There we see tremendous effort, 40 yards, just to the left of that upright.
The crucial thing, though, was that Henry Paul threw the ball back to Quentin Pongi, I think it was, at 12. Nami was calling for the drop goal. Ridge was ready as well, and the ball ended up in a second row's hand who wasn't expecting it.
There it is, all square at full time, 20 points each. The crowd brought to their feet by that final flourish from the Kiwis. Wonderful effort. Let's give praise to both sides. Many of those players are very, very tired. Legs are aching. But they've got a further 2 10-minute periods now of extra time. But tremendous effort from the Kiwis. And the Australians must be wondering just what has hit them. Brad Fickler settling everybody down there. The Kiwis sensed victory, Steve.
They did. As soon as they scored the try from Tony Ire, they all lifted. The big factor in the game is, I think, as we spoke, the referee never chose to send anybody off for holding down. He waited till 5 minutes to go, sent a player off, and it was crucial. He's going to have something to do with the outcome of this game, and he could have cut it out early on in the game by making a sin binning in the first 15, 20 minutes.
If only I could take part, says Rod Wishart, but Brad Fickler and Frank Endicott there, the Kiwi coach, issuing instructions. Frank Endicott telling the Kiwis to push the ball out wide, use the two big men, the two big centres. Australia are tiring. Australia possibly have the pace. Australia have the speed. And there we see, well, I've not seen that before. That's modern technology. Brad Fickler talking to Bobby Fulton, the coach, on a walkie-talkie.
You don't have modern technology in St. Helens, do you, Ray?
Well, you can have all the modern technology in the world, but it comes down, I think, in this 20 minutes to what's beneath those jerseys. Which team has the heart to dig deep?
And also, which team has the head? Now's the time where you've got to calm your players down and say, listen, it's a new game, this. It's the start of a fresh game. We've got 10 minutes each way. Let's calm it down, let's settle it, and let's win it. And it's who's got the right head and the heart combination.
And let's not forget that Australia only have 12 men on the field for the next 6 minutes. Hill still with 6 minutes to serve in that sin bin. So these opening 6 minutes of this extra time, Steve, they could be the crucial ones.
It's going to be crucial for Australia. They have to defend, and New Zealand have been attacking the side Terry Hill usually plays on. And you'll see that Blackmore and Iro, they're doubling around the centres, they're doubling around to hit that side, Australia's left-hand side, and Australia actually have to pick up their defence in this playoff part.
20 minutes is an awfully long time when you have just given everything for 80. But these players really are athletes. They are superbly fit. They work hard. Most of these on view here are full-time professionals. This will be a test of all 26. Frank Endicott He's come so near, yet been so far in recent seasons. Andrew Johns there and Matthew Ridge, perhaps a goal kick or two from either could settle the difference. And certainly since Gene Namu's arrival on the field, Joe, it's been a different attack for New Zealand.
It's his spark and his pace that have put things right for New Zealand. They've started to run at the Australian defence, and he's causing problems.
So, the first period of 10 minutes of extra time. If there's one thing we can say about an Australian side, they are invariably always composed, Joe. They can hold the ball, they can wait.
Well, I was noticing then when the break was on after the 80 minutes, before they started the restart, New Zealand, everybody on this stand, they had the coach on there and the trainers and everybody else was talking. Australia seemed very, very calm, and just Fittler was talking to the coach by the walkie-talkie.
Australia then, first in possession. Andrew Johns. Australia, I'm sure, will try to use their pace. Tuvey. Well taken out by Ridge on the fifth tackle. Larson. Back to Fittler. Oh, he still gets it moving. Johns. He's got Romeo Davis alongside him. That's a good kick to the corner. Just a shade too hard. But there's no doubt about it. Oh, Davis, he has pace. Lomax urging his men on.
There are tired legs out here. The Australians get the ball. Little kick through.
Good run from Ruben Wiki. Namu again, getting Kevin Iro running. Iro causing a lot of problems now. New Zealand in effect with Iro, Blackmore, Tony Iro and Wiki. Some very big, powerful, strong men, and quick. Jim Dimmer picks up the ball. The gaps beginning to come. We can see Fittler in the background there with his hands on his head. Tiredness setting in. And
he's been surprisingly quiet in the second half because he's had to make those tackles against the New Zealanders. He's not been able to show his silky skills in attack.
Gene Pay, well, that looked a forward pass. Mr. Smith having a word via the walkie-talkie with Touch Judge Tony Brown. Jeff Tuvey doesn't like it, and he incurs a penalty for the little back shot.
The touch judge spotted this forward pass, communicated with the referee through the earpiece.
They're in a bit of trouble, the Australians, at the moment. Dean Pay's down, they've got Terry Hill off, Dean Pay down, and they're feeling the effects of this hard, tough clash with the big men.
Dean Pay, fit again. Terry Hill still serving in that sin bin. 3 minutes remaining for him to sit there. New Zealand looking to take advantage. Offasini pounding in with that shoulder. Shrugs a couple off. The crowd getting behind the Kiwis, the underdogs. Namu to Tony Iro. I think Tony Iro's had a good impact since he came on.
He's played well, he's used his pace as well out wide. Started to find a few gaps in the Australian defence.
Namu. Wiki wanting a piece of the action. Good tackle there, almost like the old-fashioned Cumberland throw. But it's Australia defending desperately here. Henry Paul, 5 metres from the line on the fifth tackle. Looking for the drop from Matthew Ridge. Oh, he gets a pass up to Kearney. Kearney going himself. Barnett tries the drop, but no, it's not there. Picked up in the in-goal area. It'll be a tap on the 20-metre line.
The play before that, on the fourth tackle, Henry Paul run from dummy half, and New Zealand had 6 players to 2 Australians, and he chose to run himself from dummy half.
Tuvey still working hard in midfield. Brasher. One or two of the forwards now beginning to move up rather slowly, beginning to walk. as one would expect. Johns. Jim Dimmock. A lot of responsibility on the midfield men for the Kangaroos. They have the pace, they have the passing skills. They've got to do the work now. Johns looking for the drop. To the right. Hill waiting to come back on.
Another attempted drop goal. Steve, as a Super League coach, what would you be telling your players? Would you be asking them to go for the drop goal, or would you be looking for a try?
Whoever scores first don't win. There's still another 10 minutes of another half after this. You've got to try to tire them out, put pressure on them. If you turn the ball over on New Zealand's line, they've still got to run it out.
So would you say that's experience again that's causing it? I'm sure that's the case. Somebody has to take hold of the game by the scruff of the neck, settle the players down from either team, and play out the 10 minutes in each half.
Exactly right.
Cassini. Jones. Namu. Tony Iro lurking on the inside of Namu there, running from deep, causing problems. Back again to Jones. Kearney. Ooh, a stray pass. Ridge. That's a good kick. That's a sensible kick. Puts the pressure right back on Australia. That's better than the spate of drop goals that we've just seen. Terry Hill back in the action. Because as you were saying, there's a lot of time remaining, isn't there? And this kick, a kick like this, Joe, it puts pressure and it keeps you near the opposition line.
It's almost a fresh game. The lads are very tired, but it's a fresh game. It's a new game. It's as if the scoreboard reads 0-0 at the start of any normal game, and you have to play the percentages. Kicks like that, exactly what's needed.
Toomey. Terry Hill, all the pressure for that rest for 10 minutes. Dean Pay out of the action. Good break, good run, Terry Hill. This is dangerous now. Oh, beautifully picked up by John. Oh, and there's a chance for Hill. He's going for that line. He's there. A try for Terry Hill at the corner. Australia have struck again. He's had a rest. He's had a sit down for 10 minutes. Not exactly a pair of fresh legs, but fitter than the rest.
You'll have a look here. Some good ball movement here. Jason Smith, dummies. Good pass behind. Finds Terry Hill, makes the initial break. Offloads there. Has a look. Dimmick comes off a New Zealand player too, I think. But Matthew Johns is there. Terry Hill sees the line wide open. He's too fast. He's too strong. And he makes up for the 10 minutes he had in the sin bin.
The key factor in this try is the replacements for Australia that have come on. Matthew Johns is on. Also with Terry Hill back on the field after the sin binning. He's a little bit fresher. And those two players played a key part in that try.
This could be one of the key factors of this game, the replacement, taking off a front rower, doing play, putting him on putting on a standoff in replace of doing play, Matthew Johns, and they're the fresh legs, fresh hands, and fresh ideas. Terry Hill scores in the corner. But
it tends to be the sort of small, quick players who carry not an awful lot of weight to relish extra time.
Well, they haven't got that much weight to carry, so they can handle it.
Not a great kicking performance from Andrew Johns, but always capable of putting a touchline conversion over. Johns. No. Not very happy with his kicking performance, but he'll certainly be happy with that score. 24 points to 20. Less than a minute remaining in this first half of extra time. And here we see the break. The delayed pass from the forward there. Picked up by Hill. And Dimmock back inside. And that was the key to it all. Matthew Johns picking it up And Hill, nobody can catch him.
Ray, a player that had been on there 90 minutes couldn't have taken that pass that Matthew Johns took then. It took quick reflexes and had to be fresh.
So one of the advantages for Australia of coach Bobby Fulton holding back with the substitutions. Tuvey. Jim Dimmock. New Zealand looking to force Australia to pass, looking for the chance of a knock-on and pick up possession. Johns doing the kicking in midfield. Sean Hoppe. Good chase, good cover by the Kangaroos. Henry Paul. One or two of the Kiwi forwards walking very, very slowly now, but good run there by the wingman Barnett, helping out in midfield. Jones. Pongia.
In the first half, Ray, New Zealand gave Australia the start, and they wanted. They can't afford now, as the break goes, to concede another try.
So the first period of extra time over, the first 10 minutes. Australia, despite the absence of Terry Hill, the sixth, managed to snatch the lead. But still, just 4 points difference. That's not a lot when you've got 10 minutes remaining. When there are tired legs out there, when there are plenty of gaps out wide. Plenty of encouragement now being given, and rightly so, by the fans of both sides. Have to lift these players. Jim Dimmock worked hard at loose forward, put a lot of tackles in. John sprayed that ball around, and probably one of the calmest men at the McAlpine Stadium, Bobby Fulton, Mark Coyne. And a nervous Frank Endicott, the Kiwi coach. 10 minutes remaining. On here.
You know, Ray, when he caught that ball, he was standing near a dead ball line. If he had one foot on and caught the ball in play, it would have been a penalty to New Zealand at halfway.
And if one of his teammates would have shouted to him to let it go altogether, it would have bounced straight out.
Iro. Jones sensibly putting the ball downfield. It's a race for Brasher. Some Kiwi cover there. Jones following the ball himself, but Brasher has pace, runs it out beautifully. Good support play there from Robbie O'Davis, the Newcastle Knights wing and centre. Dallas not had an awful lot to do. New Zealand looking to clamp Australia down here. They've got to keep them here. Coyne, nice pass, out to Dallas. But again, good Kiwi cover. That's good passing. And it's Hill again, striding down the middle. Hill's still going. Good tackle, held just about by Stacey Jones. On the fifth tackle. Dimmock. Johns. The chip kick puts pressure on. And that's a good kick. Henry Paul could do little with that. He had to be very, very careful how he picked that ball up. Tackle behind the line. Drop out beneath the post.
Clever play from Andrews. Johns, he had a lot of options, dropped goals, high kick, chose to put pressure on them, and they're going to get the ball back, Australia.
Andrew Johns with the cramp, as might be expected, all the running, all the work he's done. but the game continues. Namu with a long kick. That's a good one. Well held by Brasher. Davis back inside to Hill. Hill having a good spell in this period of extra time. Larson. These forwards summoning up reserves of energy. Fickler. Oh, going for the gap. Fickler goes through. Oh, magnificent sidestep. The Australian captain showing his ability there, but he's gone down. That could be a worry, I'm sure, for coach Bobby Fulton. The fans may be delighted at that score.
Quiet second half. Been a quiet second half for Brad Fittler. One flash of brilliance here. Takes the ball at pace, a step off the left foot, runs where the referee is, and that's the try that could take Australia to the World Cup final.
You'll have a look here. Brad Fittler, good on his feet. Stephen Kearney, he's not up to the task. Straight around Kearney, straight around Ridge, and he scores. That's a match-winning try for Australia, even though they have got a lot of cramp.
Tuvey going forward, brings the cover up, but Fickler, the skipper, takes it upon himself. Superb sidestep, round Matthew Ridge, sees the line. He's a big, powerful lad. No stopping him. And recovered from the cramp. And Andrew Johns then. 2 goals from 7 attempts. Three goals from 8 attempts. An easy 2 points there for Andrew Johns. And Australia ease out 30 points to 20.
You'll have a look here, Tuvey. Good offload. Soon, Fiddler seen that the defence there was standing flat-footed. Got straight around Kearney. Through Ridge, he couldn't cover. And Fiddler seals it for Australia.
Oh, well done. Well, every time we think these Kiwis are down and out, they prove us wrong. They came back in that final 6 or 7 minutes of the normal game. Can they do it now in extra time? Just 5 minutes remaining. Ocassini. Flicks off Tuvey. But all credit to the Kangaroo scrum half going in to face a man like that. Kearney. New Zealand know that they've got to get this ball away out of the tackle. Yes, Kearney can play that ball to himself. No one was there marking him. Henry Paul on the 5th tackle. Perhaps a high ball here to put pressure on the Aussies. No, running it. Kevin Iro.
Tuvey's down in back play. He's got cramp. They're really suffering at the moment, the Australians, and they're all just saying to each other, let's settle down, slow it down. We're in front. We don't have to score.
Certainly in agony. Referee Russell Smith just holding play up a minute or 2 for Jeff Tuvey. The Australians warming up Nick Koseth. And what a luxury for Bobby Fulton to have substitutes on hand at such a late stage in the game, Steve.
Well, maybe you can look the other way, that if he made the replacements earlier, New Zealand may not have got back into the game in the last 15 minutes.
Coyne. Solid tackle there from Wicket. Larson coming stronger now in this closing minutes of this second period of extra time. Oh, the long pass from Johns again.
Yeah, come on.
Jason Smith. Fittler, that's good hands to Dimmock. Good passing here now. Coyne again keeps the movement going forward. Matthew Ridge can't escape Brasher. both sets of forwards at the walking stage now. But New Zealand desperate to move this ball, to get it out wide.
They've got no option but to move the ball. They need to score a try. They need to score twice, so they have to move the ball.
Rich. Just over 2 minutes remaining. Australia in control. 30 points to 20 for the Kangaroos. Richie Blackmore putting the kick in, looking for the chase, but again Brasher coming across field, using that extra pace and confident enough to slip the pass. Oh, Davis taken by the scruff of the neck. Colset. Jim Dimmock taking a well-earned rest. Certainly, I don't think England coach Phil Larder will be too bothered about how long they play extra time, Joe.
No, the finalists, at least like Australia, against England, are going to be tired after a game of this sort, because you can't accuse anybody out there of shirking the workload, and they must be exhausted.
Phil Larder would like the replay on Wednesday.
Well, Bobby Fulton was complaining early on in this World Cup campaign about the lack of warm-up matches. He said many of his players hadn't played for a long while and they needed some rugby. Well, they've got it this afternoon, haven't they?
They're certainly warm tonight, and I can tell you there's a few of these players are going to sleep well tonight and for a long time.
Rich. Kosef did well to get the ball out there to Brasher. Oh, neat sidestep there by Robbie O'Davis. Coyne. Matthew Johns, brother of Andrew. Coyne. The Kiwis still coming up, still looking for the tackles. Oh, almost a break. Into extra time of extra time, if we can say such a thing. Surely the Kangaroos will have a look for a drop goal here. No, Andrew Johns goes himself. A long pass, it's going out wide. It's a knock on, and Stacey Jones comes racing away down the middle. He's having to slow down for support. Gets it out there to Barnett. But again, just look at the green and gold jerseys there. Half a dozen back. And Tuvey, a knock to the right shoulder. Jones kicks and chases for Henry Paul. Brasher's going for it. He'll be first there. He is, but no need to worry. The ball rolls dead.
One thing about the Australians, they've got to a 10-point lead and they're still throwing the ball around. They got into New Zealand 22. They're not settled with that. They said we want some more points, and they've kept entertaining everybody by keep the ball moving.
Jeff Tuvey there, obviously in some difficulties, as are those two lads. And there it is. There's the hooter. Australia, the world champions, win. They move on to a second successive World Cup final at Wembley against England. And the big question is just how much has this effort taken out of the Kangaroos? It must have taken much out of that man there, Brad Fickler, but always he had the pace and the poise to deliver the killer punch. 7 times winners of the World Cup. No matter what New Zealand threw at them, they came back. It's going to be difficult to stop them going for a record 8. They've certainly, Joe, shown their true mettle this afternoon.
They've had to put it all the stop. New Zealand came back at them very, very well. Thought they might have had a chance of snatching it. Matthew Ridge's goal at the end could have taken them into the final, but you've got to give credit to Australia for the way they battled on. They kept the ball alive and they scored the tries that mattered in that extra time.
Well, many queried New Zealand, had they got the right blend, they had individuals, could they show the team effort to run Australia all the way? Well, I think they have. A lot of pride in that Kiwi jersey. No disgrace from them at all. Presented a tremendous spectacle. And I think Bobby Fulton, the Aussie coach, not only applauding his own side, but applauding both teams.
Brad Fittler, was there a second, maybe just a split second, when you thought you were on your way home?
Mate, it was quite a few seconds when I thought I was on my way home. And if next week's as hard as that, I wish I was at home.
What about Terry Hill? Sin bin, and then probably the crucial try.
Yeah, well, he's a hardy player. He puts everything he does is 100%, and yeah, he deserved it. I thought he had a great game considering he caught a few knocks.
And you still had your legs yourself later in the game, didn't you?
Mate, I was full of cramps, I'll tell you. I was struggling. I'm glad it was only 10 metres.
It was going to be a close game maybe, but you wouldn't have expected it that close, would you?
No, well, you know, like New Zealand, they're a classy side. They haven't got many reps during the last couple of weeks. They haven't been winning convincingly, but you know, we knew the class of their side, and they showed it today.
England would like to play you tomorrow, I think.
I reckon they would. I won't be.
Well done, thanks, Brett.
A tired Brad Fittler there, but a delighted Brad Fittler.
Matthew, terribly hard luck. Did you really think at the end that you would have won that game?
Yeah, well, mate, we had a kick from the sideline that, you know, I possibly should have got, and then a drop kick that probably missed by about centimetres, but there was a coat of paint, but that's the way it goes. I mean, full credit to Australia, they hung on for the win, and you know, I've got to give our guys a big rap. I thought we stuck in there really well, and we showed a lot of pride and a lot of commitment, a lot of heart, and you know, we almost came away with it, and you know, it's pretty hard to take it, right?
Were you set right for that field goal? I mean, that would have won it, really. Tremendous pressure on you.
Yeah, well, you know, like, would have preferred to get on my right foot, but they forced me on my left, and you know, I just pushed it wide a little bit, but, you know, that's rugby league. Like I say, a coat of paint in it. We could have been in the final, but it's not to be. But to all the people in New Zealand, I'd just like to say thanks. You know, we stuck together, and we appreciate all the faxes and all the support, and we've copped a bit of criticism, but I think you'll agree that we gave our best out there tonight and play six.
Hard luck, Matthew. Well played. Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah. Congratulations, Bobby. I mean, that was important. It was a terribly close game. You couldn't have expected anything like that.
Well, I could if you know, the penalty count in the second half was 9-1, and it doesn't matter what sort of opposition you're playing against, you're always going to struggle. And the possession rate in the second half of a game, the actual game itself, was 23-13, which is an enormous amount of possession, and the Kiwis put us under a bit of pressure with that possession. Bottom line is, we got them in the end.
It was handy you had some substitutes left late in the game to bring on, really, wasn't it?
It was more a fluke than good management, I'll tell you.
Really?
Well, I didn't know it was going to be a draw. Obviously, Frank Endicott didn't know either, because he used his all up.
A good night for Terry Hill. I mean, he got sin-binned, but then the crucial try, I thought.
Well, he played very, very well, Terry, you know, but I didn't think he deserved to go to the sin bin. There was plenty of other sin-binnable offences that went on in respect to the Kiwis, but they kept their 13 for the full match.
Has it taken too much out of you, do you think, for the final?
No, I think it'll be a good sort of foundation for us, because we know we're up against the top side.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thanks.
Well done. Thank you.
Well, certainly Bobby Fulton knows he's up against a top side. England have done it once there at Wembley in those opening rounds. Can they do it twice? But what a game. Players there in possession for 33 minutes and 36 minutes. That is some running, isn't it?
Well, it doesn't sort of add up with Bobby Fulton's statistics there. I think he was a bit harsh on everybody, Bobby. His team were in trouble the second half. He should have given more credit to the New Zealand team that did play well. With his, as he said, it's probably better the management part of it with the replacements. I think if he made replacements early, like late in the second half, it may not have been a draw.
And I think when one or two forwards are lying in bed tomorrow morning, they'll remember some of those tackles, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, a big game like that, there was some awful tackles. They're going to get up sore tomorrow, having made it. Gary Larson, 43 tackles in a match. I mean, that's phenomenal. Andrew Johns at 30 and Jim Dimmock 26. Noticeable that all Australians in the top 3 tacklers.
But a wonderful effort from both sides. Honour for both sides. but only one winner, and that was Australia. Australia 30, New Zealand 20.